It's Nick here with Focus Gaming News. We are at Sigma South America in Brazil. Simon Westbury, 1xBet, is in the hot seat. Good to have you.
Great to be back. Lovely to see you. And I purposely booked the interview with you on the last day of the show because it's kind of a tradition now.
Great.
So,
With it being you here, and I guess having collated all the data from all the people that you've been having conversations with, or moreover, you're the data provider. You're with one of those titan companies who has, I guess, learned all the lessons around the world, Africa, etc. How about giving us people some of the insights from those lessons learned for this new continent as it opens up?
yeah, I mean, look, we've done these global research programs, as you know. We've spoken about Western Europe. I think we missed Africa because I wasn't in the same place as you, but now we're in LATAM together. Timely as we've just released the LATAM report, and it was interesting around player protection. LATAM was leading the way in many ways, especially in the use of technology. 69% of operators are using real-time player monitoring. 34% are using AI in player protection, which is more than Western Europe. Only 30% are using AI in player protection, obviously according to our report. So they're not written by us, they're commissioned by us, but it's on the respondents. I don't want to say this is definite, but from the respondents that we had,
Statistically,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
some accuracy there, right?
And 84% was interesting of operators in Latin America, not specifically Brazil, are undertaking KYC checks on their customers, which was comparison to Africa was 75% and Western European was 74. So the report shows that in the use of technology, Latin America is leading the way. There's a concern around regulation across the continent. We see here in Brazil possible increases in taxes, possible bans on sponsorship, and we've seen in other countries in the continent quite substantial increases in taxes, and that's challenging not just for 1xBet as an operator, but all operators in the region because we want to make sure it's a commercially viable, vibrant market for the regulated market, and not seeing, as we're seeing influencers saying to people, don't gamble in the regulated market because you don't have as much chance of winning. And I think the honeymoon period of Latin American regulation is maybe coming to an end, and we're, as with everything though, you learn your lessons, you evolve. But I think we need to make sure that regulation isn't viewed as stringent taxation, and we ensure a safe environment for the players of the region.
Sure. I guess it's up to those stalwart people, the experts who've been in the industry, who have seen countries make mistakes when it comes to regulating, to perhaps advise and lobby a little better. From what I'm reading, I can't even name all the taxes, but tax rate up as high as 60% in total. Is this real?
Yeah, I mean, Mexico has gone to 50% of GGR, which is, it's tough. And what we also want is a competitive market where there's players' choice. Obviously, 1xBet, we've got one in our name. We want to be the leader in every market, but competition is good for everyone, and choice is good for everyone. And I think when you raise taxes to a point above the late 20s, early 30s, then the market becomes very tough for everyone. And I think it's not just that around taxation. I think there's a real case around education of players, around player protection in Latin America, because conceptually, 50% of operators were saying that their players still viewed gambling as a way of income generation, and that shouldn't be the case. And that was,
Responsible gaming wise.
yeah, and that was also in Africa. Gambling was viewed as income generation more than 50%. In Western Europe, it's viewed as a social activity. But I think every continent that we've done research on has its own challenges. But ultimately, everyone needs to be communicating and engaging with regulators, and not just regulators, but governments, because governments give the laws to the regulators to apply, but also society. I think I may have told you before, and apologies for repeating myself. When I used to go to a wedding when I was started in this industry, 2008, 2009, people thought what I did was fun and cool. And now people look at me like I won't use the word on interview. Yeah, a bogeyman. That's a very good way of putting it. It's like, no, what you do is not very good, etc. So I'm proud of what I do, so I'll always engage with people, but it's not as free-flowing, positive conversation as it used to be.
There's the other side of that. A part of what I do a lot of role play acting work in the responsible gaming area, where I play the parts of various gamblers with various problems. The I guess here, given that it's only newly a regulated market, there hasn't been that education to show that other side that it's not an income generator, right?
Of course, and I think Brazil's okay, but some of the more cash-dominated societies that we've seen, have really raised this problem. But I think, and I've said this, what you need to do as an operator, like no one likes going to the doctor, no one likes going to the dentist. You don't want to make someone who may be looking at how they gamble, you don't want to make it clinical. You want to kind of make it engaging and subtle and obviously confidential. The confidential bit is obviously a given, but we've developed some tools like a tool we call 1x Balance, which is what I kind of call a gamified way for the player to engage. It's a soft level quiz. It's there if they want to engage. But I think we also find, tools which are saying how much you can gamble based on this, self-exclusion. When you get to the point of self-exclusion, someone's really got a problem. They've identified it, they're self-excluded. We want to get to them before that point and actually offer help. And I think that's where we need to educate. But the education needs to start with gambling is not for income generation. It's like having a drink. It's a social entertainment experience.
Well, there's a positive point in terms of what your research has found, that these players are increasingly been tracked here, that there is chance and there is opportunity there, at least we have the data on the people. And something I wanted to ask you, just 1xBet being such a titan, global titan with this big brand, and yet markets like Brazil, my understanding is they like that local feel, local idea. How do you go about, coming into a market and playing that localized part and not being the global giant?
Well, I think it's a great question, and it's one we have to think about. And obviously, 1xBet, thank you, is a nice way of putting it, a global titan. But we have over 35 local licenses now. In each of those markets, we have a local team on the ground. Now, we have a global strategy which has 3 pillars: one about leading product, one about digital marketing acquisition, be CRM, SEO, affiliate, influencers where we can use it. Obviously we've got over 18 years of experience globally, over 3 million a month global users. So we're kind of trying to take all that data, put it into the product, work with specific providers in specific markets that appeal to those players, have local boots on the ground. I don't know if I can say boots on the ground in the global environment at the moment. It sounds a bit aggressive. Let's say local teams. It's a better way of putting it. And then we also use sponsorship where we can to actually build trust in the brand on a local level. So, we obviously have global deals with companies like clubs, not companies, like FC Barcelona. But then we have a lot of local deals on the ground. I met the Nightmare, as he's known, a UFC Brazilian fighter here. And actually, we try and identify with the player to build trust. And then when they enter our environment, the product is specific to them. So our product in Spain is very different to the product here in Brazil. Obviously, we're pleased to announce earlier in the show that we're live here with our local license. So we have specific providers for specific markets where we know they work. And obviously that comes down to the local knowledge, the local expertise. And I think a lot of companies have come here maybe with I don't want to say colonial, it's a bit, being British, I don't like saying colonial, with a kind of global view that they know best and that's going to work here. And I think they found out to their detriment that it doesn't. Even, some companies came here without local customer support. Now, I found going to restaurants, my lack of Portuguese is a challenge. So, we make sure that we fit the market and we have local teams in the ground in the over 35 plus markets that we operate in.
Cool. Mr. Westbury, it's always a pleasure. Thanks very much for representing 1xBet here today.
Always a pleasure. Always good to see you, and I look forward to seeing you wherever we are in the world next.
Malta next.
I'll be in Malta. Look forward to it.
Okay. Nicholas signing off from Focus Gaming News.